Hi there. One of the common challenges that you face when you use cp command for copying files on the command line is the lack of status or any kind of progress. So when you're copying a large directory tree, for example, you might wonder what's going on and you may not see the progress going on, and you might depend on other tools like you'd use pv command, or some people recommend using rsync and dd. Yeah, there are various ways to get progress information when you're copying files. There are a lot of other options, but how do I just get this status information from CP? Let me tell you about that. So first of all, if I'm just going to copy a directory tree from CP, I have a folder called Linux kernel, which is nothing but the Linux source code, which I sort of downloaded and updated, which you can see in here. I want to make a complete replica of this directory. I want to make a backup of this. So in order to make a backup, if you say cp linux-kernel and say Linux backup, for example, you know that CP outright refuses to copy directories. You can see that it says -r is not specified, omitting directory Linux kernel. Now, this -r switch might be required for recursive traversal of directory and copying them, just like -r is there for every command, right? You have rm-r, cp-r, ls-r, and so on. But then I'm going to tell you another switch which is much more convenient to use. You might want to use cp-a. The -a switch stands for copy in archival mode. It does not just copy a directory tree recursively, but it also makes sure that the stat of the files, the stat is nothing but the metadata about the file permissions, the file's ownership, the file's timestamps, all of those as much as possible is retained in the destination. So if it'll make an exact replica, right? So I'd rather use cp-a, Linux-kernel, and Linux-backup. Note that this -a switch will also take care of things like symbolic links. Symbolic links are copied as symbolic links. Hard links are also retained as hard links. We'll try to retain as much information from the source to destination as possible. So when I run this command now, it does it. But you don't see any information on what's going on, right? I'm going to say Control-C this time. I'm not going to complete it. And I'm going to delete the directory tree which was created halfway through, because this time I'm going to show you a better approach. When you use cp-r or -a, recursive copy, also add a -v switch if you want to get status of all files being copied. So at least you won't see a blank screen with the blinking cursor, but rather you will see something going on, at least telling you what files are getting copied. So when I say cp-av, Linux kernel space Linux backup, you can see it at least gives you a progress of what's going on. It's not really the progress, but at least you know it's not stuck somewhere. And it's completed. And of course, it does not tell you the progress bar. Some people would expect a progress bar with nice percentage like 10%, 20%. That is not done here, because that involves first knowing the directory tree first, how big the size of directory tree is, which requires one traversal, and then you need to copy. Yeah, there is some performance complexity involved. That's why you don't do that for the sake of user friendliness. But then there's also another switch I recommend using when you're going to do mirroring of directories using cp command alone. I would recommend using cp-auv. So now I made a backup already. Just before I run this command, I'll just show you. Right. I'll just okay. I think I'm not sure how come Control-K doesn't work. I think screen messes up my key combinations. Okay. So if we just say Linux-kernel, you can see some file folders here. The backup will look exactly identical, even including the timestamp. If you look at if you say ls-l Linux kernel, look at the timestamps here: October 10, September 9, October 10, and all these times are being retained in the original directory. If you look up the contents of Linux backup, the timestamps are exactly alike. So now the stat data is lost, is retained as much as possible. Now, let's say that I want to update this directory. Maybe some changes have made in the source directory. I'm going to update it. This is what I'm going to do. I'll just, let's say touch. You can see the readme. Okay, I'll just look at the make file. It shows up October 10th, right? And even the readme file is October 14th, but then it's, it shows a slightly different timestamp than what it is right now. But if I just say touch and Linux kernel / makefile, touch Linux kernel / readme, I've just tried to change the timestamp of this file is as good as updating this file. I didn't really open the file and modify it, but you can see the timestamp is changed in the source directory. Sorry, ls kernel. Okay, I should use ls minus l. I'm sorry for that. You could see that the timestamp of makefile from October 10th has become October 14th, and this was actually 2021. It changed to 2027. Now it's moved 7 minutes forward. Now these two files have been updated. The timestamps of these two files will not match with what is in the destination, which is the backup. So when I have use case scenario like this, when you have modified certain files, I want to only update those files that are modified. You can use cp-auv linux-kernel. And yes, here's a caution. Don't say Linux kernel and Linux backup like I did before. You should know a fact. If a destination does not exist, a new folder is created. But this time, if a folder exists, the source is copied as a subfolder in the destination. You don't want that. You don't want another folder called Linux kernel under Linux backup, right? The destination folder exists. CP command has a tendency to create the source folder under a destination and copy it there. You'll make another duplicate. So you don't want that. So you say Linux kernel /* all files under all contents of Linux kernel is what is to be copied in Linux backup. So when I specify this way, you can observe only those two files which are modified, only those two files are copied. Run this one more time. Looks like the source and the destination is completely in sync. If you modify any file, I'm not going to manually modify another file now, random file. So I'm just going to say vi, or maybe I'll use nano this time, nano linux-kernel / maybe I'm just going to take some file, okay, init/main.c. Oh, there's no main.c in this. Okay, sorry, maybe I did look for something else. Tab completion didn't work, so yes, okay. Maybe I'll just say kernel / hang on a minute. Looks like the entire kernel contents are not copied. Okay. Oh, no such file directory. Arch. Okay, I'll just arch kcomp. I'm just modifying one of the files in the directory tree completely. Not in the top level directory, no, somewhere else. Modify this file. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to say add a comment and say this file is being modified. That's it. Now if I run this command, cp -auv switch, this is a combination. Archival mode, update, verbose. Source /* to the backup folder. I can just see it knows exactly what file is modified. Just copies it. This could be a very convenient switch to use in cp command. At least you get status of files being copied. In future videos, I will tell you about other tools like rsync, aria2c, and also dd command in the coming videos. So do watch out for that. Thank you very much. I hope you found this video useful. If you do find it useful, please do comment. Thank you very much.